Hey there, I'm Mr. Know-It-All, the lead swing trading analyst trader at Swing Trade Pros, the #1 swing trading and bot community in the world. And I genuinely want to help you make your mark in the thrilling world of swing trading cryptocurrency. I've been trading since 2017 and I've taught myself many different trading strategies, patterns. I'm known for the falling wedge pattern, as you guys might know. I've dedicated my life to mastering these types of structures and patterns, and now my goal is to impact the lives of 1 million of you. You heard that right. My goal is to impact 1 million people this bull cycle. Let that be you. Cryptocurrency markets can be a roller coaster ride, full of ups and downs. But through swing trading, I've discovered a strategy that can truly make a difference. I've poured countless hours to studying the intricacies of wedge patterns, rising wedge patterns, you name it. And it has become my area of expertise. Here's the thing. I genuinely want to see you thrive in this market. That's why I've made it my mission to impact 1 million of you. I want to provide you with the tools, insight, and support you need to navigate this exciting but challenging landscape. Swing trading is not just about technical analysis. It's about understanding market psychology and developing disciplined risk management strategies. I'll be there to guide you step by step as we identify different types of patterns and structures and seize profitable opportunities. Together, we'll build your confidence in trading skills, ensuring you're well prepared to face the twists and turns of swing trading. Believe me when I say that I genuinely care about your success. That's why I'm inviting you to join me, Mr. Know-It-All, on this transformative journey. Let's make the most of this bull cycle and work towards your financial freedom together. You'll find all my links in my bio. Reach out and let's dive into this world of swing trading. I'm here to support you and your family and guide you every step of the way because your success matters to me. Together, let's make a real impact and achieve trading success.
All right, welcome back, traders. We're live here a little bit early, a couple minutes before the close here. Just kind of wanted to go through what we're expecting here this week and the weekly candle close here on Bitcoin. So, shall we take a look through it here? We're piercing into the 50-period moving average. This is our second test of the 50-period here since this unwinding Japan event here a couple weeks ago. Definitely some bearish price action. We back tested, $60,000 region. We are now below the daily 200-day moving average on not only the spot pair here, but also on the futures market, as we were alluding to last time that we were still above it last week. And we've now made closures, multiple daily closures below it. We are right at a range low that we put in on the daily on August 5th. And so far, we're holding this support region. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is super bullish price action, guys, but, we're holding the bottom of the range for now. In terms of moving averages, we are below all major moving averages on the daily time frame. That's not really what we want to be seeing in a bull market. The question here in lies, are we going into a bear market? I wouldn't say that we're going into a bear market just yet. I would say that we've done about a 33% correction, even though it seems really boring and bare and really bad price action. Even in bull runs, 30% to 40% drawdowns are kind of normal. The fact that we're sitting right here down at this daily bottom of this range here kind of feels like to me we're probably going to get a push up off this low, even if we do end up making a lower high and we come down further to maybe that $47,000 region. I am of the opinion that we're going to get a push up here because of what Tether is kind of showing me right now. On the 12-hour, we're printing a 12-hour counter trend short signal. We don't typically get those very often, and when we do get them, we usually do see price action. So we can also see that our MFI is giving us a short signal here. The 12-hour looks like it's about to maybe roll over here a bit. I'm not here telling you that Tether is bearish because it's not. But what I am saying is that we could see a little bit of a bounce in this region off the bottom of this range, maybe to go back test previous breakdown regions that we just saw occur. So our first real level here that we're looking at is this 55.8, which is the daily 200. And maybe if we do really get some bullish momentum, a bit of bullish momentum, we could see about 58,000 also retested, and maybe like a super bullish case would be up to 60K, which would be that long-term trend line. But if we don't see a retest of the breakdown regions, we're looking at $50,000 here, a continuation down to maybe retest this wick low. And looking left here, you can see that this is like the bottom of this previous range. And if we end up taking out 50K, we're looking at 47,000 on the nose. That looks like a major support level. And you can see not a lot of price action trading here. That means they can really easily manipulate this price through. But yes, I mean, it is quite bearish looking right this very moment. But like I said before, the shorter term timescales, here look like we're going to see maybe a bounce off this region. A descending broadening formation, yes, we're all aware that this is a potential descending broadening formation. Right. So typically when you get a descending broadening formation, you can get back up to like 67K, and then you can make one more low, and you can just continue broadening forever until you eventually get a major breakout. But let's look at high time frames, because that's what's really important. And our high time frame right now on the weekly, our stochastics are still ticked down here. We haven't got a cross up. We're looking for a cross up. We haven't got it. The 2-week also in oversold territory. The 3-week also in oversold territory. The monthly teetering right on bullish control zone. So this is then these next couple of weeks are pretty critical here for Bitcoin to remain in this uptrend. My only real caveat about this structure is the monthly. Look at your monthly momentum. That's not necessarily good to see. That can all really start to change if we start getting massive positive momentum that comes in to negate this bearish divergence that we've had. Okay. But as time goes on, if we continue to lose this momentum, what happens is we get a bearish cross, right? And when you get a bearish cross, that's multiple months of downside potentially, right? And so that's something that we're really watching and paying attention to, because if we don't pick up steam here, like shortly, in the next, I would say next week or two, this could get pretty bloody. This could get even more bloody than it is right now. I would venture to say it's not even a descending broadening formation. It's more so just a flag on the monthly chart. Really just looks like a bull flag. And we've had many bull flags before that fail. If you look at, previous chart history on Bitcoin, we've had some flags fail before. It wouldn't be the first time we saw a flag actually not play out. Right, so you've had even down here, right? Oh man, it's a flag pattern, bro. Yeah. Yeah, massive flag pattern that you went into a massive bear market and you had this breakout and stayed down here for a solid year. I'm just saying, dude, like you just need to understand the implications of what this means, and it doesn't mean that you're gonna get resolve on this right away. It could take time. Here, man, you broke a flag, make a lower high, and then just crash. Yep. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We're looking to really to remain in this situation. We need to really start reclaiming these levels. Like 64K needs to be reclaimed. We have a clear rejection there on the 5-day chart as well. And every single time we end up going into this green Gaussian channel here after a major move, which we got, aside from this double top, unless we decide that we're going to break out and just make a double top, we could do that, just like we did here. Double top, and then just crash, just like the stock market just did. The stock market just made a double top, right? S&P, double top. I mean, your neckline, I guess your technical neckline is this low from 52 at 5,200. So, I mean, if the stock market doesn't hold this level as support, then we're probably going into a bear market in the stock market too. It's just that's just what it is. Short time frame here looks good. I think we're going to see a little bit of a push off these lows to be more short term here, like the next day or two. I think we're going to see some movements here in the market. Longer term here just really depends on how Bitcoin ends up reclaiming those ranges. And again, the S&P is pretty important thing to look at, because equities pretty much lead the market in terms of the risk assets. So until Bitcoin is really noted and taken as a not speculative or risk asset, and it's actually considered to be a store of value, it is going to follow the equities market. Still really, really infancy stages of that. So for now, it is going to follow what the equities market does. Stocks do look bearish. Yes, they do. Recession incoming. Yeah, I mean, they've been calling for a recession for a while. I think the most important thing to look at is the global liquidity index. And Bitcoin's not going to really do anything until they start printing money and or they cut interest rates, which is kind of the same thing, because once they start cutting rates, I think they will start printing money, because that's how the Fed is going to, refinance their debt. And right now, it looks like we've got a bit of a break on the global liquidity index right now. So, some really cool things actually that look decent right now, despite the price action for Bitcoin, is the others dominance chart, which is basically the altcoins. And if you look at the weekly time frame on the altcoin index or the others.d chart, we can see a weekly cross up is impending at the bottom of this range, which would be a higher low. So we're basically making double bottom here on others.d, which could result in a push up here for the altcoins. Maybe while Bitcoin just kind of consolidates here. Once they cut rates, you're already in a recession. It's too late at that point. No, because I would disagree with that, because the whole point of them cutting rates is to allow for easy money to be printed, and for them to stimulate the economy that way. I would disagree. Just like them over hiking interest rates when we weren't in a recession. What was the point of that? When we weren't in a recession. We've been in a recession technically since 2020, man. They just continued to kick the can down the road by printing money and messing with interest rates to restrict money supply and to get down inflation, even though they haven't gotten inflation down at all. Think about it. I would disagree. I think we are in a recession. They keep changing the metrics of what a recession is. Dude, the Fed is having to cut interest rates because the rest of the globe is cutting interest rates. And you realize that if we keep our interest rates high, other economies suffer. Other economies are in recessions right now. That's the whole point. The U.S. has still the strongest economy in the world, arguably. If we continue to make our dollar stronger, it destroys other economies that trade in dollars for their products. It screws up global trade. Why do you think the yen, or why do you think Japan has been at 0% interest rates for like 40 years and 50 years? Because all they do is print, all they do is borrow over there for nothing, for free, zero. Dude, they're lying to you, man. They see everything. They just choose to ignore the facts. They just choose to ignore the facts. Anyways, just pay attention to the chart, man. And I think this week is going to be a big week. So let's pay attention. Top of the range rejected here for Tether. We can't really get bullish on the market until they do take out this 5.28% region. Yeah, only recently, right? And why are they doing that? And they also reneged on their interest rate hike, because they realized that every economy is tied to, or is borrowing through Japan. They have so much capital tied up in all markets because they borrow for nothing. I hope you realize that, man. Anyways, if Japan unwinds their whole trade, it will crash every single market. I would agree. That it's possible that we could see some more downside here on the S&P. I wouldn't say we're really in any sort of trouble until we take out this 5,300 region, by the way, though. So, we made the same top here, but a double top is confirmed once you break this neckline. So, guess what? I wouldn't say we're in any shenanigans yet until we start taking this low out right here. Then you could really start to get worried about the stock market. The monthly candle looks like shit, but last monthly candle printed a hammer candle, interestingly enough. So we'll see how the rest of this month closes. Because they can come all the way down here. They can come all the way down here and tag this and then run it back up, you know. And your 6-month candle looks okay too, by the way. Nothing wrong with your 6-month candle here, which closes in the end of the year. So like if by the end of the year the S&P is taking out 4,800, yeah, that's a 6-month bearish engulfing candle. Yeah, then we're probably in for a major crash or major correction. Until then, I think that this looks okay on high time frame for now. And the tricky thing here is yes, once they start cutting rates, it's not a good thing necessarily. But take a look at your dollar, man. Does your dollar look like it's going to do something productive here? Is this thing going to hold up? I think once they cut rates, the dollar gets weaker. And what's going to end up happening if they cutting rates, that means businesses can then borrow money for less of an interest rate, which should, in theory, stimulate economy or induce buying pressure into the market. Okay. That's the whole goal for the Fed to cut rates, is so that it makes it more bearable for markets to borrow, or make it more bearable for businesses to borrow money. I agree, it's a ticking time bomb, man. Really, I think we have maybe a solid year before we go into a major like recession or drawdown. But I think the next 6 months, 6 to 8 months might be still okay for the markets. So, yeah, and even in like your 6-month candle here on total looks okay right now until you start taking out like 1.5 trillion or something. So yeah, we could still be in line for, you know, some further downside here for the next coming weeks potentially. I'm aware of the yield curve inversion, uninversion. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yep. Yeah. So anyways, man, if you want to de-risk your risk assets, then you shouldn't, if you think we're really going into a recession, really going to crash, then you shouldn't be in any risk assets at all. You should just be in cash, man. Cash it up. Sit on your cash position for the next couple of years. Cool. So like I said, man, I think short-term upside here off these range lows. Go back test or retest some of these breakdown levels that we just discussed. Tether looks like it's at the top of its range here. Probably pulls back a bit. And we'll see how that plays out. If Tether ends up taking out that 5.3% region back down to these major moving averages, then we can talk about some major upside coming. But for now, I would still err on the side of caution, in that we could just be looking at bounces off bottoms of ranges here for now. Yeah, of course, IJ Money. That's how it should always be, man. That's how it should always be. Cool. Well, I mean, do you guys want to look at any assets in particular? Let's take a look at fear and greed. All right. Fear and greed. We are in the fear right now. So, I mean, again, bottom of ranges, dollar cost averaging into positions potentially if you think or feel those assets are good for the longer term. The best time to buy is when the market's in fear, hands down, always. AVGO, man, we'll check it out. I think that's Broadcom, right? Yikes. Yeah, looking at a range low retest, maybe 129s. Still above all major weekly moving averages here. Like, you're still in a major uptrend. The problem I'm having with this asset right now is you made a lower high. And yeah, you could come back down to test the 50-period weekly moving average. You might even tag this major demand zone at 121. Your monthly chart looks really, really shitty. Yeah, we can look at ETH. I want to show you guys something interesting, and that's brewing on the ETH chart, by the way, for all you people that are, or everyone that thinks like super bearish stuff. I mean, I get it. The market's been shitty. We've been in a drawdown here for the last like 5 months. It's been kind of brutal, not gonna lie. ETH Bitcoin, major demand line here on the monthly chart. I'm gonna show you something interesting though, okay? On the weekly time frame, our MFI is starting to flash buy signals here on ETH Bitcoin, all right? We're starting to flash these buy signals. We never really flash these signals very often. When we do, the last buy signals we got were back here in January, and that was when they announced the ETH ETF, okay? And time before that was the June of 2022 crash, when ETH bottomed out at like $800 or $900. So these signals don't come in very often. When they do, they're usually pretty significant, aside from the one that we got in January, I would say. But yeah. But even still, even if you rolled Bitcoin for ETH here, I think it's you're just dollar cost averaging into ETH if you're rolling Bitcoin, right? So ETH Bitcoin chart looking pretty interesting right here. And I would take a note of this major trend line right here. If this starts to break, sure, we can be looking at lower targets here for the ETH Bitcoin ratio. But for now, it's holding up there, I would say. Okay, yeah, let's look at ETH versus the dollar. So still holding your parabolic uptrend here, okay, on Ethereum. And you're right, you're coming smack right into some of these major weekly moving averages here. You do this pretty often after you get a major correction. You might even deviate below them briefly before pushing back up. And again, we're starting to flash some buy signals here on the wave trend ribbon. And even on the MFI, on the weekly time frame, it's starting to flash green buy signals right here, okay? I rest my case. So we could be looking at, maybe a little bit more consolidation down here, maybe one more wick low to pierce through this or something, and then, V-shape it back into the structure. All right. Yeah. So this to me looks like it's entering into some critical buy zones. All right. Probably going to run through March, man. It's probably going to run into like April or May. But yeah, to me, if we do start to see a reversal and these rate cuts really induce buying pressure, We could see something along the lines of this happening, where we make like an inverse head and shoulders type of structure, and then we end up blow off topping sometime in May or June, or this might even run until the end of next year. It just depends on how the rate cut cycle goes. Yep, I would say the charts look okay. Longer term charts look fine. I wouldn't say it's confirmed to be in right now, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Twelve hour looking pretty nice here on Bitcoin. All right, so I'm expecting a pretty big move up here. Okay, this week I think we're going to start to see some movement. We got some 12-hour buy signals printing. Okay, like yeah, 12-hour signals aren't usually the strongest or the best, but we got a last 12-hour buy signal was this low that we made this off the capitulation low here in August, and that produced some price action. Right, that produced a pretty big move, man. That produced about a 30% movement. Okay, so if we produce something similar and we produce a 30% movement, that might actually break us out to about 68K. All right, just saying. See how it goes. This could take some time, though. It may not happen right away. This move took from August 5th to August 25th. So this took 2 weeks. So maybe in the next couple of weeks we see this movement. Okay. Just remember the stream, September 8th, flashing 12-hour buy signals on Bitcoin and 12-hour short signals on Tether. And a lot of these altcoins, man, I'm telling you, a lot of them are at range lows and bottoms, not seen since October of 23. I'm just looking at KSM here, for example, give you guys an idea. All right. Just holding the bottom of this range. I mean, this is not the strongest asset in crypto right now, but here's Avalanche. Avalanche holding the fib level here at $20 and candling above it. Solana, let's take a look at Solana, which is probably the strongest altcoin. All right, just holding above the 786 fib extension here. Holding 130s, pretty strong. Holding above the 50 period. Just sitting here, man. Just sitting up here. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take a look at Link. Link's been kind of weak, man. Not going to lie. Yeah, just holding above its bear market breakout zone here, right? So you broke the range, went on a run, and tagged it. Got a little bit of a rally off of it, starting to make higher lows. You can see on the weekly chart, one low, second low. You're starting to put in your lows, man. Right? Link looks decent here. Probably not a bad spot to buy it. Not financial advice, guys, remember. I took a trade on Synapse Protocol here yesterday at 40 cents after it retested this range low and broke out. It broke out today. Just to give you guys an example. Illuvium is another one. This is probably one of the weaker coins here. It actually ended up breaking its range low, but if we get movement up in this market, I would say range deviation, and this will pop back into the range and eventually break out. EGLD, I have a position in this, still at the range lows down here. I'm probably going to add to my position down here at these lows. In the next coming days, I'm probably going to add some more to this position. Again, not a strong altcoin, But to me, this looks like it's pretty close to being bottomed out down here. Your weekly MACD is already starting to show you signs that it could be impending a reversal here, maybe in the next coming days, weeks. This looks decent for a low risk area to take a trade, right? Like, think about it. It's really easy to manage your risk here. You start buying an asset here, and if it ends up breaking this low, okay, let's just say you give this up to about this $30 region, okay, and you set your stop around 19 bucks. Yeah. And I don't know, let's just trade this to the top of the range because that's all we know. Maybe this thing doesn't perform very well. It just goes back up to the top of its range. That's almost a 6-to-1 risk to reward. That's a great swing trade, right? Here we can look at IMX. So if this is the bottom for IMX, you're putting in like a third higher low. You have 1, 2. If this is a third higher low, that's great. That's showing some nice accumulation down here. But that's not necessarily confirmed just yet on IMX. But yeah, your weekly is starting to show signs of that. It's starting to show signs of momentum shifting. Right? This asset's been performing okay, I would say, even during this downturn. Yeah, you put a low in, you've kind of reconfirmed this low. It just really depends on if this is going to push up this week or not. If this ends up getting rejected and you make another low, as long as you're making a higher low than 52 cents, it's fine in terms of technicals, right? Because like you're still making higher lows. Correct. Yeah, so IMX from a technical point of view, as long as you make a higher low than 52 cents, it's good to go. Not all of them, dude. Alluvium is not, right? Alluvium broke its low. But yeah, a lot of them are making higher lows. Injective still, as long as this thing isn't breaking the 650 low, I think it's fine. H bar, yeah, we can look at H bar. Oof. Yeah, man, you better hope this low holds, man, because like that is the low. If it doesn't hold, you're looking at 3.5 cents and then 2.8 cents. But like you're talking about breaking, you know, October lows if you do that. That's your H bar. Yeah, I mean, you better hope that low holds, man. Otherwise, you're gonna be testing like 3 cents potentially. IMX looks a lot better than H bar. How about that? And Solana looks better than an IMX. Here's another one that broke its low. DYDX. H bar on life support. Yeah. ZRX. I guess CRX is fine above 15 cents. I mean, like, dude, just pick and choose your battles with some of these altcoins, man. Try to find the ones that are outperforming the market, like Fetch. Fetch is a really strong altcoin, right? Just higher highs and higher lows. Like nowhere near its October low, right? October low was 20 cents. Just to give you some ideas of what to look for, these are some assets that look good. Each bar is a good buy. Yeah, I mean, it's at its range low. It doesn't really get much lower risk than that. Problem is if Bitcoin continues down, H bar might break that low. So that's it. It's just about finding the assets that are continuing to make higher highs and higher lows given the current market situation. Cardano actually looking like it wants to reverse here on the monthly. It looks pretty decent. I mean, anything at a range low is an auto buy. I don't know about that. Here, let's find some stocks that are at range lows that continue to make new range lows. I would say that's a false statement, dude. Like you probably don't want to be saying that stuff because that's not true. We went through ETH already, Kyle. Scroll back in the video. Yeah, but dude, not all of these assets are going to perform like the way you think they're going to perform. Just realize that. They're just not. Not all of them are going to do 100x, bro. It's really important to pay attention to TVL, man. Really important to pay attention to TVL. And we can see TVL right now is on its way down. It's not on its way up. It's on its way down. Not even, bro. Like, maybe not even. It just depends. Depends on the asset. Depends on the narrative of that asset. Depends on the attention on that asset. Depends on what's happening with that asset. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, man. It's not just like, oh, well, the whole market's going up. It's got to do a 20x. No, it's just not how it goes. I'll give you a great example. Dash. Dash has been through several cycles. Okay. Here's Dash's biggest cycle from 2014 to the 2017 run up this thing had. Okay, this thing went from $2 to $1,600. Okay, it's never revisited $1,600. Never. This was your last bull cycle, March of 2020, $55 to $500. This thing did a 10x. This thing may never revisit $500 again, is what I'm trying to say. Just understand, bro. Just you have to have an understanding of what these things are. It's easy to say that, man. It's easy to say that, isn't it? Yeah, you got to invest in the right shit, man. Yeah, sure. Binance is a monster. Binance is strong. Celsius is dead. FTX is dead. I bought Binance at $1 in 2016 or 2017. And we all know what happened to that. So let's not talk about it. Yep. Binance is a monster. Binance probably continues to go higher if this market goes higher. Like, it wouldn't shock me if we saw a $2,500 Binance coin at some point. Aerodrome is the right shit, but it's at its range low right now. It's probably not a bad time to buy it. If you think Coinbase is good, then you should probably buy Aerodrome, because Aerodrome is Coinbase's DEX, or Base's DEX. And yes, we're flashing daily buy signals. And yes, Aerodrome is a good one. I would say this is one of the right shit coins to buy. Yeah, ADA is a blue chip asset, right? I mean, I think they just came out with some decent news too. ADA probably ends up doing really, really well here. Nice falling wedge pattern on ADA here. You had the nice descending broadening formation that broke out. You came back down to these range lows. To me, this looks like it's going to probably put a nice reversal in here. Cardano looks pretty good. You know, once you start breaking 45 cents, you're looking at the top of the range, 73. But until then, you know, you're sideways and consolidating before you end up breaking the structure. But you can clearly see a falling wedge pattern in development here on Cardano. YFI, I'll take a look at it. Yearn. Bottom of the range on YFI. Hasn't really done anything this cycle at all, aside from a double up from its range low. So if this range low holds, well, you're probably going back up to 10K. It's just ping pong in the range, right? Ping pong, ping pong, ping pong. Very predictable. All right. Anything else you guys want to take a look at tonight? If not, I'm going to look at some of these perpetual protocol. Take a look at it. We'll take a look at Google, yeah. On the shorter time scale, yeah, we'll take a look at it. Perpetual protocol holding its range low here for now. But pretty simple, right? So if you're starting to show signs of accumulation, a third higher low, which is what you want to see, that's good. And it's very clear that you have maybe some sort of structure in formation here. Right, you have a clear demand line. Every single time you come to this demand line, you bounce off of it, bounce off of it, bounced off of it, bouncing off of it. You might come back down to this range low again and hold this low. That'd be good to see. So yeah, you got a tight wedge structure being formed here. And if buying pressure comes into this market, which the weekly is implying that that could be coming soon, right? You're losing your negative momentum. After you come out of negative momentum, you start building positive momentum, and that's when you get a shift of momentum into the market, all right? And the weekly's not really giving you any clues as to oversold or anything, as you did back here. In January, you had a weekly buy signal come in right at the bottom, so perfect. Your three-day started to tell you to start buying this asset in July and here in August. Okay, so it's getting to that point of where buyers should step in to this asset, but we're not really seeing anything happen just yet. But it's holding these lows, so that should be enough of a clue that maybe you should start buying this asset. Okay, you might make one more low, or you might retest this range low at 47, 48 cents. Just depends on what Bitcoin does. This all depends on what Bitcoin ends up doing. All right, but yeah, your risk to reward here is looking pretty good. Like if this trades back up to $1.80, because that's what we know that it's done. So there's a chance that it can do that again if the right buying pressure comes into the market. It's the same thing, right? You start buying here, you set your stop or have a mental stop below the low of the range, and you trade this to the top of the range, which is about a 7-to-1 risk to reward, which is fantastic. You can look at CAN stock, yeah. So holding the range low. So one low, attempted rally failed, came back down to retest the low, got a bounce off of it, made another lower high, but still continuing to hold this range low. Your weekly looks good in terms of momentum. Okay, you crossed up on the weekly. 2-week is kind of teetering. The 3-week is oversold. The monthly is also oversold. The thing that to me looks interesting is still the monthly momentum is starting to tick up. You're starting to build positive momentum. I think in the coming months, and I think I've said this to you before, Kyle, this is a longer term trade for me. At least another year for this to play out, maybe 6 months. And you can see also the volume. The selling pressure is weaning off here as well. You can see that. Look at the volume, all right? So when the sellers are exhausted and can't sell the asset anymore, there's no more sellers left, buying pressure or buyers start stepping into the asset, okay? This could go sideways for a bit, looks like. We got a daily signal that came in August 6th for a buy that was down here at this range low, and we've just been since sideways. Yeah, I'm just going to be holding this, man. I think this is going to play out eventually. So that's it. Look at Google. Google off a daily range low here. Starting to flash daily buy signals. The 4-hour. Yeah, the 4 hour looks like shit. But yeah, I mean, you're tagging this liquidity wick low here. You might get a bounce off this low, and you might go just retest like 160 or something and roll over. Might do something like that. Google looks horrible. Really, it looks bad. You're probably going to tag this, 149 level at some point. You might actually end up, tagging that first before anything. If you don't catch any bids off this moving average here. Yeah, Google looks pretty bad. I mean, it doesn't look bad. You had a breakout, and now you're just getting a back test or a retest. That's what it looks like. But it could end up drawing out more than that. I mean, it just depends on what the S&P does or the NASDAQ does. NASDAQ actually looks like shit. I would say that you have this long-term trend line here. You might tag somewhere on this trend line, okay, 146 even. You might even pierce it, go to 142, and then like reclaim or something, But your weekly momentum oscillator is already in oversold territory, so that's good. But you haven't picked back up. You know what? I also was looking at the stock to flow versus gold. Okay. And then you also have the rainbow chart, which is interesting. And the cycle repaint chart, I call it. My computer is lagging. Site sucks. Cold as the new Bitcoin, yeah. All right, so here's your cycle repaint chart. This is saying we've basically hit our low, 53,000, and it's projecting it like it's taking this data from a repeating of the previous cycle, right? You can see the double top. So like if we repeat the same pattern as we did last cycle, then we're off to the races here. Basically, this is basically the bottom. Okay, no guarantees for that. But the rainbow chart to me looks pretty interesting. That it's pretty much in the blue zone here at the buy zone. Okay. And after the halving, which is what we just had, maybe, we get like in 2016 here, we got a capitulation and then a rally. In 2020, we had the COVID crash, and then there was no need to capitulate after that. What's up, Cookies? What's going on, dude? Yeah, so the rainbow chart here looks decent. Like, I'm not a seller of Bitcoin here. And the altcoin season index, which everyone's waiting for altcoin season to kick off, right? So altcoin season index to me looks like it's ready to rock. Yeah, I don't really gauge anything off the repaint chart. I call it the repaint chart for a reason. The repaint chart's pretty good though for timing. Dates, not so much price. So yeah, I think this looks decent. The altcoin index chart's at the bottom here. A lot of these alts are at bottoms. So take it for what you will. There's no guarantees in any of these markets. Remember that. No guarantees for anything, but I'm slated to believe we are going to see some sort of movement in this market here in the coming weeks, months, going into like the end of Q4 here is typically bullish for Bitcoin. October is usually a pretty bullish month. So just got to get through September. September is usually not so good. So use this time to dollar cost average into positions. Use this time to find the right assets to buy is what I would say. Make America great again. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got. Pretty much it. The weekly candle closed on Tether, a engulfing candle of last week. Tether is still bullish. Okay, Tether is still bullish. We spoke about the 12-hour being showing us some signs of maybe a potential reversal. That is still in the cards. And we got a sell signal here on our MFI as well. So we'll see if this ends up getting follow through. That's really all we got to go by. The 2-week chart here is looking a bit extended on the stochastics. Every single time we come up to these regions, these end up being market bottoms or lows or areas for Tether to reverse. So we're getting close to that. We haven't got a cross down just yet, but we're impending that. Might take another couple weeks. My only real concern is the monthly. Okay, the monthly is down here, has lots of room to go up. All right, but what could end up happening is if the weekly and the 2-week start crossing down, then you'll get a monthly cross back down, which will bring buying pressure coming into the market. So that is the bullish scenario to have happen. The bearish scenario to have happen is, well, Tether just keeps climbing and the prices just keep coming down. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right, that's all I got. I've been live for an hour. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully it was informative. Make sure you guys leave a like, a comment, maybe some feedback in the comment section if you want something covered next stream, or maybe you want some different assets, or maybe you want to learn something else about how I'm reading these charts or why I'm saying the things I'm saying. Appreciate all the feedback. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully we see some price action here for Bitcoin, as we did just flash a 12-hour buy signal on Bitcoin. All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch you guys next week.